Hello, everyone. So, yesterday, the video that I have uploaded was called You Will Be Blessed. And today's title is called Keep Rising, Keep Going. And the reason why I titled Keep Rising, Keep Going is because it's not over yet. What God has for me, it is for me. And no matter what I face in this life, I know that I have Him always. Can nobody tell me anything about God because I know God for myself. A lot of challenges that I have been through in my life, I know that was only God leading me to Him because He wants me to go through these things so I can grow through them, so I can tell other people about how I still rise despite the fact that they counted me out, despite the fact that they thought that they didn't need me. But whatever the situation it was, I still was needed. God still calling me in. I'm still important. And I'm here to let you all know that regardless of what you may be going through in your life, that it's still not over yet. That God hasn't counted you out. That no matter what you may face, God still loves you and God still needs you. And I know sometimes it may not seem like that. It seems like God isn't answering your prayers. Seems like you are alone. You keep going through the same situation over and over again, and you just don't think that anything will work out for you. But I'm here to let you all know that God hears you and God will answer your prayers on His timing. You know, sometimes we got to go through these things so that we can be strong. And without a test, there isn't a testimony. And I understand that sometimes we shouldn't go through these things because we are good people, so we say. But even good people, they still have to go through challenges. And I believe in my heart that no matter what you may be facing in your life, that God still will be there right with you, that He won't leave you, He won't shut you out. And I know it may be hard for someone out there to believe, but it's the truth. God didn't tell us that, we was gonna have a non-perfect, a perfect life. He never said that we was gonna have a perfect life. We're gonna experience, I wouldn't say the same things, but the similar things that He had went through. But at the end of the day, God is holding our hand. God wrote our stories. God put us on different paths. And I believe in our hearts that we are meant to teach each other. And, you know, sometimes we have to be alone in this journey. Sometimes things have to, you know, sometimes go left just so we can get right with Him. And I know some of you all may not understand it, but I'm sure as you continue to keep going and keep growing and keep learning, you will understand that it was worth it. We don't know who we may be helping in this world. We don't know who we may be inspiring. We don't know who lives we may be touching. But I feel as though when God gives us something that He wants us to share with others, He don't want us to be selfish. And I know sometimes it's hard because we want the blessings to ourselves. We think we deserve it and no one should have it, or, no one should know. But, you know, God wasn't selfish at all when He came on this earth. He always shared, whether it was a word, whether it was something that He probably knew a person needed. He still extended that same love to other people. And we all go through things that we just don't be understanding why sometimes. And I truly be saying the same thing too sometimes, like, why? But I don't want to say why no more. Feel like he wants us to go through that. He wants us to understand that throughout the troubles that we may face, that he overcame it, and we will too. Some of these tests and trials that God is sending our way is to help us to maneuver in his life in the way that he would. I believe that the tests and trials that's coming my way or have come my way, it was to make me stronger, because the prayers that I have been asking God is for me to grow, is for me to elevate, is for me to not think negative, is for me to accept what is and to embrace everything that's around me. Because when I was growing up, I wasn't in that mindset of, oh, everything will work out for me, if that makes sense. I wasn't in that type of mindset. So sometimes when I go through situations, I would get upset. I would get upset with everybody. I would not think like good things would come my way, because I always been experiencing something bad happening. So I didn't believe that good would come until one day I was alone and I seen something where I was at in my life. I was in darkness in a long time ago. I was in the dark and I felt like it wasn't fair. And just so happened I seen a Bible where I was at. I seen the Bible where I was at, and it was a fresh Bible. It was a clean one. Nobody read it. It wasn't bent. It was just a brand new Bible where I was at. And I opened it up to whatever my hand landed on in the Bible. And I started reading that. And every day up until I got out of that dark place in my life, I knew right then and there that God was by my side, and he was just telling me not to fear, not to be afraid. That, a lot of people in the Bible, they was in the darkness too. But the thing about that was that they kept God. They kept God in their hearts. They kept praying. They was fasting. They did things that God was pleased with them doing. And I feel as though we should take that and we should use that in our lives as well, because, I know it's going to be hard, but I feel like we have a lot of inspirational people in the Bible that we can learn from and use in this world. They probably didn't know what they was going to go through. They didn't know if the challenges that they were going to, if they were in, was ever going to get better or anything, but they still had faith and they still had hope that it was going to be better, that God wasn't finished with them yet, that God still had a plan for their life, that even though they was in a tough spot in their life, that God still made a way, that God still woke them up in the morning, that God still was teaching them how to keep going. And I know that we don't think that things are going to get better when we experience something so traumatic in our lives. And I'm here to tell you all that you will get through it. I got through it. I'm getting through it. Every day is not going to be sunshine all the time. Sometimes the rain has to come. Sometimes storms have to come. But we know that at the end of that, the sun will come out. And God knew what he was doing when he created you. He knew what he was doing when he created me. So even though the paths that we are on, it may have some thorns in the path, on our path. We may have, like, I picture the pathway that I'm on as a path where there's going to be a lot of obstacles, like an obstacle course. And sometimes I'm crawling, sometimes I may have to jump, I may have to maybe fly. I may have to do a lot of things on this obstacle course, but it's leading me to him. It's leading me to the path that God is on. Sometimes the path that we on, we don't understand. But we understand that we prayed, but we didn't understand that after we prayed, we was going to go through some type of obstacle in our lives. But I feel as though these obstacles is to teach us to be closer to him, to teach us how to handle situations, how to handle when things come our way that we probably would have handled them in a not so good way. But since we are on this path with him, we have to understand that some paths are only to test us, to test how strong we are, to test our character. Sometimes to just test us overall to see if we have really matured. And I can say that I have had my struggles in these obstacles that I was facing. I have had my troubles to where, I wasn't thinking good and, still being in that same mindset. And God really had to speak to me and say, hey, my child, I don't want you to think like that. I don't want you to think like that. Don't think like that. I want you to think good things. I want you to think about the promises that I have told you over and over again. I already said that I wasn't going to leave you. I already said I wasn't going to forsake you. I said I was going to always be here. But I don't want you to think like your life is over because of where you at. You are still loved. You are still needed. You are still enough. You are still mine. You are still my child. And when I think about those promises that God has made in the Bible, it makes me cry, but it also heals me too, because it's like, sometimes we didn't have those encouragement words that we always wanted. We didn't have nobody to uplift us. So sometimes when we needed to hear certain things, we didn't hear it. So we just got kind of cold and we just felt like, okay, well, I'm this, I'm that. And we're not that. And I feel like that was Satan trying to get into our head to make it seem like, oh, well, you're not loved and you're not worthy. You ain't nothing. And that's not true. God don't think of us in that way when we go through challenging times in our lives. He still understand that though things may happen, that he still hasn't changed his mind. He still hasn't changed how he felt about us. Got to think about the people that was in the Bible that he helped. Even though they lacked faith, he still loved them. Even though people was questioning him, he still loved them. He still did what his father told him to do. He knew that these people was going to question him. He knew that these people was lacking the knowledge and the faith and wisdom. He knew it all, but that did not change his mind. And what I'm trying to say is that when we go through situations in our lives, we cannot sit here and say to ourselves, oh, well, nothing good is going to come out of it. Oh, this, oh, that. No, something good is coming out of our situation. If God said it, that's what it is. You know, we can't, we may not can't put into words of like what we may be going through. Sometimes we just don't understand. But God is basically telling us like to keep the faith, to keep going. That any small reason to live is good enough. Any small reason to live is good enough. You are good enough. You are worthy. You are loved. And sometimes affirmations really helps in situations that, you know, you may be going through too, because that's a reassurance to yourself, to your spirit, to your soul, that no matter what is going on, that you have somebody that loves you in this world. You have someone that really cares. And when you go through those type of moments in your life, think about God. When God died on the cross, he knew that we was not good. He knew that we was sinning. He knew that we was going through something. And he never got down. He never told God, get me off. I can't do this no more. No, he stayed until it was time for him to get off. And sometimes we have to learn our lessons, not because, you know, not because we, in so many words, we have to learn our lesson. We have to learn them. Whether we are doing good in this world, whether we are doing bad in this world, we still have to learn that sometimes some things comes with a consequence. We all have heard that back in school, that when you do good, it comes with a consequence. When you do bad, it comes with a consequence. Either or, we still have to learn. We still have to grow. We still have to elevate. God don't want us to be stagnant. God don't want us to be stuck. God want us to keep going. God want us to grow. God want us to do things to push ourselves to become better than what we think we should be. He want us to be better. And you know, like I said, we can learn a lot from people in the Bible. We really can learn a lot from them because, like I said, they went through way worse, but they got out of that situation. They still kept pressing forward. They still kept putting God first. Even when these people was getting beat, even when these people was in situations that we probably would have thought they probably would have died in, they didn't die. Yeah, some of these people may have scars on their bodies, but that don't mean that they just wasn't bad people. Sometimes we have to go through some really challenging moments for us to make us to realize that God is the one that we need. I don't care what the world is telling you, what the world is going through. That Bible is different from the world. God already overcame what he went through on this earth. And I'm sure in your life, you will get over it as well. Because God is going to always be with us. And I know it's a lot of people in this world that probably do not even believe in God. But we still have to pray for these people because that's still his children as well. You know, we got to stop thinking like, oh, well, I'm not going to pray for them, or I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. No, that's not what God wants us to do. That's not God. And if you thinking like that, then I'm praying for you, because that's not what God wants us to do, and that's not how God wants us to behave. We are our brothers and sisters in his eyes. So we have to understand that sometimes, even though things is challenging right now in our lives, we still have to be loving and caring people. We still have to do the work. And no matter what we are going through, we still have to keep the faith, and we still got to keep going. And that's all that I want to say to you all. You know, just keep going, keep thriving, and keep rising, and just understand that God isn't through with you yet. This isn't your ending. to your story just because you're going through things. It's not. Just continue to keep looking up to him and continue to read your Bible and to understand that your better is coming. That it may look dark and bleak right now in your life, but you know that the dawn is coming. I ask that you please like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more. And God bless.